Thank you. So first of all, because I'm first speaker, so I have to make a proof you are not sleeping. So please, who likes Zabbix? Okay, great. Who likes your data? Who likes your data? Do you like your data? Okay. But you are either sleeping or I don't understand. Okay. Who is interested what's in Zabbix history data? Okay. It's worse and worse. Okay. We can divide the data for three categories. Yeah? First, you don't like, when you make data which you don't like, when you're making a report to your boss and said, okay, there was a problem which was made by me in the report that there was 2 hours down the server and it's my problem. Okay, you don't like this data. You like the data that, oh my boss, I am great because there was no electricity and no network and it still worked. Yeah? And do you know which data you love the most? These are that data which you just get lost. Yeah? You love that the most. Okay, so let me introduce. My name is Lukas Macura. I work on CESNet, which is National Research Network in Czech Republic, and in Silesian University in Ostrava. Next question: have you ever been in Czech Republic? Okay. Have you ever been in Ostrava? Okay, so be better for next year. I will check the question again. Okay. So, what will we talk about? We'll talk about monitoring data analysis. I've made some tool which is Monda, and it's able to do some operation under history data of Zabbix and find some maybe useful things there. I will want to say how it works, and if there will be enough time, maybe we can talk about how to install it and what can you get from it. So something about a Zabbix installation, it's not too much. It's, I think, small installation. And now, how Monda works. Monda works like, it uses SQL and Zabbix API, and it connects together and computes some statistics and some correlations and do some reports. It's written in network in PHP, but don't be afraid, mathematical clauses are not in PHP, they are directly in SQL. It uses cache because we often use same API calls and SQL queries, so to be quicker. And in some near future, maybe, there will be some tool to generate maps directly back to Zabbix, what we found. And of course, it's open source. So, how it works? Let's divide history into time windows. Time window can be something related to trends, but trends are for 1 hour only. But time window in Monda has flexible length. Today it has 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. And we are doing some analysis inside. Today only history and history so only numeric data. What's interesting, one Monda installation can be connected to more Zabbix servers. So you can get information from more servers to one place. So, in each time window, we are collecting some statistic informations. So, how many items was there? How many items are interesting for next analysis? How many items we dropped because some reason? What's nice that time windows are hierarchical, because you have big window inside 1 week, there are some days, there are some hours, are hierarchical. You see some small report, HTML report, because I am still working on reports, HTML reports. So you will see some example. What's probably most interesting feature is level of interest. This is some integer, and the integer is computed based on statistics and some things, and each time windows is stamped by level of interest. In fact, there are a lot of data in history, and you cannot analyze all of them. You must do some pre-processing. For pre-processing, there is a table item stat, and there are some statistics not about time windows, about history of given item in a given time. So in trends, we have minimum, maximum, and average, but it's not enough. So I added standard deviation, coefficient of variation, and level of interest, because each item in each window has some level of interest, and after it we will make some mathematical operations over it. So this was some pre-process phase. So we take the data, check if the data are interesting for us or not, and stamp them by level of interest. Maybe in future it could be housekeeper process, maybe, we'll see. But definitely we need some plugins to work with historical data in Zabbix server. Item correlations. There are a huge number of correlations. How many items we have? 40,000? 50,000? Okay, now correlation matrix is 50,000 multiply 50,000. It's really too much, not possible to compute everything. So that's the reason why we had some pre-processing. We choose the right items for correlations. I correlate only what's needed. Today there is possible to compute correlation per time window. It means between items. Something like correlation between Ethernet statistics and disk statistics. It can correlate. Per day of week, it will check same item like disk statistics per same day of week. So each Monday there was some problem. Okay, let's look for it. And per hour of the day means, okay, what happens at 7 o'clock each morning? What can we do now? So there are CSV reports. So you can look into statistics per window. So which window was nice, where was, how many items were dropped, how many items are usable. You can do report of correlations. So it will show you most or best correlations between hosts and items. HTML report for timeline, so you see the time windows and what's there. HTML report for item stat window, it means one window and what's inside, which items were chosen for analysis, which were not. Now I am working on HTML dependency reports, but my problem, I am not a graphician. I am a technician who can do something with data, but graphical representation for me is a problem, so I am still working on it. What to say? We can drop 80% of data in history in our setup. 80% of data are not interesting for next analysis because in given time windows there was not enough change. There is still same value or really small amount of changes in window. So for analysis in this time window is not interesting. So only 20% of data goes through preprocessing. And we found some interesting correlations between hosts and switch ports. So you will run Monda, and you will see, wow, these two ports on these two switches has same correlation. What happens there? We were researching because we run Monda on some switches on another buildings, and we found really good correlations between some ports. One was on one building, another building, and we say, what the hell, what is this? What is this? How is it possible that ports correlate? We found that it was some camera system. Camera monitoring system on that ports, which had same features when communicating with central server. So you are able to find not physical connections, but logical connections between your hosts, items, or something like this. Okay, what's the time? Please. Okay. So, if somebody wants to test it, you are welcome. It's open source. After a while, I will show you some scenario how to install. It's really easy, but you have to take care. It can really be dangerous for your server to do huge amount of SQL operations, because Monda can kill every Zabbix instance, because really it do huge amount of operations on history, and it uses SQL where possible. So so even correlation is computed inside SQL query, not copied to stack and correlated and copied back. So, because I didn't know about how long we will stay for discussion for this, so I will show you that configure process. Today we are working only about text reports, so this manual is only for text reports. For web reports you have to read me carefully, and you have to look for right ownership of files, but for text reports it's okay. So you can test it. Is enough to clone from repository, to set some database, and I would say one of design goals of Monda is to have two databases, one for Zabbix, one for Monda. It can be one database, but it's recommended to use two databases because Monda can do its computations and Zabbix is not affected. We only take the data from Zabbix, and after it we can do some next operation and things. So you can have one database for both, but it's recommended to have two. That second goal of Monda is to use idle time. Everything inside Monda is made for idle time of the server. So if there is some CPU, if CPU is used too much, or if there is disk I/O, Monda will stop. This is feature that Monda will work only on idle time of CPU. How to say? I solved it by creating another instance of Postgres. This is second thing. Even if it's theoretically possible that it will work on another database, I work on Postgres with Monda. So you see, Zabbix Monda has to know database password for Zabbix. It needs some user and password for API. It needs DSN for Monda, for database, Monda database. And we use Zabbix ID. It means you can have more Zabbix servers, and each of them will have its ID in Monda for next mathematical operations. It's a simple case. So the TV, TWV, it means time window. So we can create time window, show time window, show some help. We can, IS means item stat. We can compute item stat, show item stat, or IC means item correlations. We can compute or show. If you are strong enough, you're not afraid and you are a big man, you can change, you can try these commands, and it will do everything what's needed to compute the statistics. But take care of your health of your server. Okay? That's all.
Any questions?
Do you have some example of some reports and some correlation you did?
We can discuss after.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Okay.
problem. Yeah.
Thank
But because the HTML maps are relatively new, so I didn't have something nice to show. So we work on CSV reports, and it's possible to feed into some Excel or something like this and work with it.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Quick question, how does Monda detect that the system is idle? You know, that the CPU is idle or I/O is idle?
There are some checks inside Monda that it reads some information from prods or something like this. So there is check inside Monda that before bigger operation it checks if system health is okay, and if not, it waits.
Okay, so but if there's like multiple disks on the system or multiple CPUs, does it wait until like all CPUs are idle?
It takes, I think it takes some average over CPUs.
Okay, thank you.
But it needs to improve. I tested on our server, and it's prior to test and use, because main feature is it will use idle time.